Okay, last day, Arizona, tiny house operation manual. This is the instant water heater. If it is going to freeze, there is a little valve that needs to be opened, a brass valve there to drain it. In order to use it, this switch needs to be turned on. In order for it to fire, there's batteries inside that actually ignite it. The propane tank that is hooked to the double thing would need to be opened in order for it to have propane. That's just to have hot water. Now, if in fact you want to add water, this little black valve or pipe right here, that's the fill hole for the water tank. And in order to drain the whole thing, this is hot and cold running water on the outside when the pump is running, and that drain there would drain the water heater. But for the moment, and there's the other supplies. In order to use this blue hose to hook to this cold water faucet, and you could hook up and you could have water from they call shore power or shore water. But you'd have to close the valve that is right back there beside the pump, which you can't see because of all the junk that's in here, but that's the basics of it. As it stands right now, I am actually charging the starter battery with the solar. I've tried to decide whether I should just shut the whole thing off, and I might, but if that's plugged into there, since the lithium batteries are inside, then in fact the water heater, yeah, that's that thing. The starter battery is getting charged in about a minute by the 300 watts of solar on the roof, and that's really sort of unnecessary, considering it might sit here for a while. I probably will just shut that off. And this little door actually has a neat little hole in the cedar board that it can hold into. And then on the inside, the lithium batteries would go under there. There's a picture on how to hook those up. And right now the other end of that wire is plugged into right here, which then basically feeds the electricity from the solar. And if the solar is to be turned on or off, the battery should be the first on but the last off. So right now they're both on. On is this way for the solar, and if you want to turn the system off, you switch the solar off that way. I think I'll just leave it off, and the battery off that way now, and that shuts this thing down. If you want to turn it back on, then you turn the battery on first, because you don't want the solar controller to have solar power without the battery being on. And so then that turns on, and you see that kicked this switch here then kicked the solar on. See that green light at the top should go off when I turn that off, right? Yeah. Reluctantly, huh? Well, that's interesting. Anyway, it shows 12.9 volts. I don't need to leave this on, so I'm going to leave the solar off. I'm going to leave the battery, so that's off for the solar, and then the battery turns off second, and that shuts off that system. I think it's the only thing that makes sense. And all of my junk tools and supplies in there will be safe. And I did want to just simply show that if in fact we're traveling, this pipe needs to be across here to hold that in place. And then this pipe can be brought over here, and actually closing that curtain does help provide darkness. But then to take a shower, the bifolding door track with the closet rack hooked onto it opens up the shower, and the towels can be brought out on the towel rack so that the shower space is most usable. However, a person may notice, this is a strange arrangement, that you can't then close the shower curtain. So what I have done in the past is push that clear to there, slide that clear inside there so that it actually goes past the end. This is strange, but that's what I'm doing right now anyway. So that rod goes past that, then you slide that back out. Crazy arrangement, but it's working for me right now. And that goes back in there, and ta-da! It's kind of silly, but that's what I'm doing. So you push that clear into there. You push this clear into there. You put that rod inside of there, and you pull it clear out to here. And then you bring this one across to there. And then you put that back in there. Convenient, huh? And that goes back in there. And of course, this is the plug for the fantastic fan. And I guess that's all I really need to say about the arrangements. Now that is the catalytic heater that runs off the same propane tank. And it actually has an electric starter, so it just needs to be turned to the start position with the gas on, and click the little starter and let the thing warm up, and then turn it to run after it's 30 seconds or so. And the refrigerator is plugged into an outlet. That's what I was going to also say about this, is that these plugs don't have to run through the kilowatt meter, but I was using it to test, and they plug into the inverter. The inverter is turned on with that little remote right there when there are 2 lithium batteries in here. And then those 2 breakers there, one of them goes just to the refrigerator, the other one goes to the outlets by the sink and would run the microwave. The other plug runs straight out of here and runs a power into the both those 2 outside spaces there, and actually this outlet right here, there's outlet in there and there's an outlet over there on the outside in those between the doors. So that's about everything. Now actually this switch then also, if the solar's on, this switch runs all the 12 volt stuff that is actually run off of that little 24 volt 12 volt converter thing, and those are the breakers or the fuses for the couple of outlet systems that are operating. Probably should to say something about the operation of the vehicle, but it's pretty much a vehicle, and you just pretty much start it and you pretty much drive it.